on this edition of Lifeguard.
The lifeguard dispatch, we have 3 guards hooked up for 4 or 5 shoots.
Guys, let's go! Get out!
All of us were in the water taking 8 waves on the head.
And
Guardian 1 on scene. It's going to be a C-spot in the water.
Forearm to the bone, kind of filleted open.
plus,
This is a fisherman who got the pylon. Yeah, fish scraped up.
I tried to get him away from the pier, take him as far in as I could. He was just in a bad situation.
the lifeguards of Southern California protect over 400 miles of coastline,
It's just really us versus nature.
Get out!
and nothing impacts their day like the weather.
As lifeguards, the weather dictates the type of day that you're going to have.
Shark sighting, clear the water. I need medics to ski beach dock and other units.
On these beaches, lifeguards are the first responders.
1, 2, 3, 4. When you get this many people coming to the beach, things are going to happen.
Hey, you all right, buddy? You there?
They are there to save you.
He told me to grab the buoy. He was literally right there.
They are there to lifeguard. This is La Jolla, California. Located 12 miles north of downtown San Diego, La Jolla boasts an average summertime air temperature of 76 degrees. Warm temperatures and mild winds make La Jolla one of the most popular tourist destinations in Southern California.
La Jolla in general is just such a unique area. We have cliffs, we have reefs, we have rocks. We're in a giant marine reserve, leopard sharks, sea lions, seals, whales. Just all of that together just make this the perfect place to come on vacation, but it also makes it an excellent place to lifeguard because each one of those activities and each one of those unique areas here at the beach also gives a different challenge for lifeguarding.
In the heart of this community is La Jolla Cove. This little gem is equally popular with both locals and tourists.
La Jolla Cove's famous. It's inside the reserve, so it's usually really docile and really benign in there. It's really quiet. It's pretty renowned for the fish and your ability to snorkel out there and see. And that's the beauty of it. People that don't swim very well can still go out there and swim around and have a good time.
It's a hot day, and the crowds have come for a relaxing afternoon at the beach. But Mother Nature has other plans.
There's a big south swell that's coming up from Mexico, and there's also a northwest wind swell bump, which creates a pretty good and dynamic swell within the cove. The south swell is going to come up and wrap into the cove, but then we get the northwest wind swell that's going to come in and put a different lump into the surf, which creates another challenging aspect, making the rescues and also observing the water and the victims.
Ocean conditions at La Jolla depend on the weather, especially the wind. La Jolla Cove, I think, is particularly sensitive to low height, long period South Pacific swell, and that the waves may not become ever gigantic, but the grouping is very pronounced.
During any ocean swell, the waves come to the shore in sets, but no one can predict when the big ones will roll in.
We've got the dropping tide with the swell with the right direction. So this area over here, the Boulder field, which we know we're supposed to stay out of, that's where all the energy focuses.
Conditions are getting worse. With a crowded beach and an unpredictable ocean, lifeguards take action.
Attention swimmers, we do have some strong rip currents and large surf. If you do not have fins and are a strong ocean swimmer, please remain very close to shore at all times. Thank you.
People are just here to have fun and get their tan on and enjoy. And we like it like that. But the ocean keeps moving. The set is coming, the water's coming off the beach, the rip is sucking, and we've got a lot of people in the water and limited guards.
Just as lifeguards are warning the last of the swimmers, a violent set of waves begins to roll in.
2 guards in currently on 2 rescues and a lot of potential.
Lifeguards need backup. Jet 3 is dispatched from La Jolla shores.
Copy, Jet 3 en route.
4-year veteran Zach Long is one of the guards in the water.
We were making some rescues on the inside after a set had started pushing everybody into the Boulder field. They were both pretty calm. We told them to take hold of our buoys. They weren't panicking or anything. They were just in a really bad spot.
Guys, let's go! Get out!
With the help of lifeguards, exhausted swimmers fight their way to shore as even more guards enter the water to rescue others in distress. The Relentless surf is pushing victims closer and closer to the dangerous boulder fields.
A 6-foot wave, it has a lot of energy. And the dynamics of that is that people they think that they're okay, and by the second and third wave, they're pushed over into the rocks over here, which is the worst place you want to be.
I was out swimming and like 3 giant waves that took me under, and I was definitely like, I'm gonna drown right now. Then the lifeguard saved me and handed me a buoy.
Jet 3 arrives at the cove to bring victims to shore.
Lifeguard dispatch, we have 3 guards hooked up with maybe about 4 or 5 rescues.
The beach is chaotic. At this point, 10 swimmers have been saved, and every guard in the water is busy rescuing multiple victims.
Jet 3 is in the hole, right off laser. 1 victim, 1 hookup.
Lifeguard John Kerr is radioing for backup when he spots yet another swimmer in distress.
Everyone had at least 2 victims. I ran out of guards. I'm the last man standing. So now I've got to go. It's clear to me that I've got to go, and now I abandon the station. So now I'm in.
Lifeguard dispatch, Cove on staff. Copy, Cove on staff.
Kerr races to the victim and helps him onto his board.
That was a extremely abnormal condition. We couldn't tell that set was coming until all of us were in the water taking 8 waves on the head.
The waves are getting bigger. Then, lifeguards notice 2 swimmers drifting dangerously close to the boulder field. Eric Guerrero and Zach Long were the first lifeguards to reach the victims.
When we got to them, they were about 5-10 yards away from some really dangerous rocks. The victim and I were both very concerned for our own well-being. So as soon as I got him on the can, I said, just don't let go. I put my head down and I swam as hard as I could, going under maybe 10 waves, consistently looking back to see if my partner was doing okay. And as I'm swimming out, I'm making it under waves. He's getting pulled back into the hole area, and it just became a very hazardous situation.
The wave surge is incredibly powerful. Even the seals struggle in the turbulent water.
With the conditions, it was a long swim. I probably swam him out about 100 yards, just out to sea, just to try and get away from the rocks. Once we were out on the outside, I was able to stabilize the victim on the rescue board, and the ski came by and picked up 1 victim while I held on, stabilized another victim, and then they took them into the beach.
Saw any water?
Basically, I'm a pretty seasoned person in terms of going to the ocean today, and usually the coast, usually about the calmest area, because that's mainly for novices, but not today, though. It shows you the power of nature.
With the waves dying down and all swimmers back on land, the exhausted guards return to a grateful beach.
Passing the Cove and 3 Sim, we are clear at the Cove.
We had a super busy day today. A 4-wave set, 4-wave set, a 16-wave set. So trouble. Everyone in that event had at least 2 victims. But our whole business is keeping you safe. That's why we do the job, is to help people.
Located in the heart of San Diego, Mission Bay is a prominent feature on the Southern California coastline. Covering over 4,000 acres, the bay is the largest man-made aquatic park in America. Today, triple-digit temperatures inland have brought boaters and jet skiers en masse to Mission Bay.
A friend of mine and his wife, we decided to take his boat out and just kind of cruise the bay for a while. It was just getting kind of crowded, so we were just going to go and head on home. Heading home, going south in the water. I'm sitting on the front passenger side of the boat, my friend's driving, and I look out of the corner of my eye, I see something in the water. I look over, I see a jet skier. It kind of looked like they're going to cross our path, and I realized that it wasn't going to cross the path, we were going to run into each other. Before I could say anything, the jet skier hit our boat.
In this exclusive footage, we see the collision. The PWC on the right of the screen is traveling west as it collides with an 18-foot passenger boat. Luckily for the victim, lifeguard Mike Manley is only 20 yards away, when he witnesses the accident.
I was on patrol in Lifeguard vessel Guardian 1. I just see a PWC and a vessel collide. The operator of the PWC was in the water. He was conscious, in a lot of pain.
Guardian 1 on scene, Fiesta Bay, PWC collision. I need medics to Ski Beach dock and other units. It's gonna be a C-spine in the water.
Lifeguard Steve Orlowski pulls up on his rescue boat within 2 minutes.
I'm on scene. We got one guard with the victim. He's oriented times 4. He's got a broken arm, broken leg. We're gonna take C-spine in the water.
Officer Manley was in the water. About 30 feet away from the hull of an overturned PWC was a gentleman screaming, "What just happened? What just happened? His leg hurt, don't touch me, leave me alone." We had a lot of wave motion and turbulence in the water. Saw a lot of pink in the water. I, at that time, decided, for airway precautions, C-spine precautions, we're gonna be kind of pushed away. We need to get that guy onto a boat.
He just reached over the gunnel on his vessel, handed me the backboard. He seemed to be in shock. He was kind of worried about a lot of other extraneous things other than exactly what just happened.
Together, Manley and Orlowski get the victim into Rescue West and begin first aid.
And on his right knee, there was a pretty significant abrasion. He was saying that he couldn't move his knee. And then I saw on his right arm, close to the elbow, his forearm to the bone, kind of filleted open.
So we wrapped it and stopped the bleeding as quickly as possible. There was a lot of blood. So we cleaned that up and wrapped it up, realizing that there was some leg damage on his right leg.
The victim has experienced major trauma. Manley and Orlowski are concerned about internal injuries. The Lifeguard fireboat arrives and escorts Rescue West to the dock at Ski Beach.
It's all open there. This is just wide open to the bone. Okay. How's your thigh? Is it your knee?
No, it's just my knee.
Okay.
Yeah, so your toes. Negative toes.
The victim is alive, but in shock. And it's unknown if he has any internal injuries.
Can run you up to the hospital, get checked out.
I don't want to go to the hospital, man.
You got it, bud. You got it. Pretty significant injury.
Yep. Because it happened in front of us, we were right there. So we cut a lot of time off that golden hour.
You guys probably got blood on you.
You have an hour to respond and get that patient to ultimate care of the trauma surgeon.
Come on, watch your feet. Watch my feet.
Yeah.
All right, partner. Let's go to that door.
It's 3 months before Memorial Day, and the Pacific Ocean is less than inviting. The swells that roll in this time of year are generated 1,000 miles to the north, off the icy Alaskan coastline. On the beach, a cold wind is blowing from the south. So why are all these people headed toward the ocean?
Okay, folks, you want to listen up.
All across the Southland, eager young men and women have come to compete for the summer job of a lifetime. They want to be lifeguards.
This beach is one of the toughest beaches to lifeguard in all of the United States.
79 candidates arrive in Huntington Beach to compete in a series of endurance tests. Less than 20 will make the cut.
Ladies and gentlemen, good luck. This is one of the best jobs there is in the world.
Okay, Hamburg here gets number 91.
For 6 years, I've wanted to be a lifeguard. It's really important because if I get this job, I'm gonna be like, oh, I was a lifeguard. I dealt with emergency situations and I was able to save lives. It's actually not that bad. It's like 59, so better than last year's.
Stay in position, do not move, please.
The first elimination event is a 1,000-yard swim out and around the pier.
The water is below 60 degrees today, and on their way out, they will be shocked by the cold water. And then once they get hit by a wave or two, a lot of people will turn around and come back in. That's where we separate the people that overestimate their ability from the ones who have the ability.
I do long distance in high school for swimming, so it's kind of like what I do.
I'm feeling pretty good about this year and hoping that I can make the cut through training to get hired for the summer.
I've been waiting to do this for a long time. Going through junior guards, this has always been my goal in the end, so I'm pretty excited.
You're rounding the piling, not the paddler. You got to go around the piling. He's just marking the piling that I want you to go around. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you are in the hands of the starter.
Right away, lifeguards begin pulling competitors from the water. The currents and frigid temperatures proved to be too much for some of them.
I was like about halfway. Started too fast early and then I just got way too tired.
We've had people with back spasms who could not finish. We've had people with leg cramps, which is unfortunate, but you know, that's part of lifeguarding. It's not just one rescue and you're done. You're there all day long.
Lifeguard hopeful Tony Morelli is the first one to finish.
I was really happy that I came in first.
Every second in every race will determine who will make the final list.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're now down to 58.
Applicants are given 10 minutes to catch their breath, while lifeguards attend to the wounded.
He just brushed up against one of the pilings in competition, and he had a slight laceration on his tricep and also another few lacerations on his leg. So we cleaned the wound, we stopped the bleeding, and he's back in action, ready to go. He's gonna try and get this job.
The final event of the day is a 1,000-yard run, combined with a 500-yard swim.
All right, you know, walk it in now. Keep in line, stay in line.
Of the 79 applicants who started this morning, 22 have dropped out. The other 57 are fighting for 19 slots.
When I saw my name, like, I wanted to do a little dance, but like it didn't. It just felt good.
For the others, there's always next summer. It's Memorial Day weekend in Huntington Beach, and the rookies have been training for 6 weeks. Today will be the first day on the beach for many, and it won't be easy. 2 storms in the Pacific have created a heavy south swell that's causing larger than normal waves.
It's really hot inland. You can almost feel the high pressure system out here too. We're expecting it to be warm on the sand again, probably in the 80s again. And of course we have a good sized swell happening, so there's a lot of activity in the water, and with the amount of people we have for a holiday weekend, we're probably expecting to have a pretty busy day.
Huntington Beach has remarkably good conditions sometimes with south swell, waves coming from the South Pacific. And there's 2 reasons. One is there's no islands in the way. A second reason is there is a canyon, an underwater canyon near Huntington Beach, and it alters the waves as they approach Huntington Beach. And in fact, it twists and turns them and makes big waves even bigger.
Today, Marine Safety Officer Tony Villalobos is keeping an eye on the beach and the rookies.
Today we have 4 rookies working. We've trained the rookies to be able to identify victims and identify hazards. And obviously, if we have a victim and a hazard together, that's gonna probably most likely be a response.
Directly north of the pier is rookie lifeguard Sydney Estrella, the only female guard to make this year's cut.
The big deal about today is today's my first day working. I've been practicing since I was little, doing junior guards, and now like it's the real thing. And so it's kind of special.
The rip currents are at their peak when Sydney spots a swimmer being pulled offshore.
I wanted to become a lifeguard because I wanted to go into like the medical industry, I guess you can say, and like become a doctor, a paramedic. So this is like a great job to like start off and get that experience.
Sydney's first rescue is in the books. Meanwhile, at Tower 3, lifeguard rookie Tony Morelli starts his dream job.
When I was younger, I'd come down to the beach. I mean, I'd see the lifeguards and how like fulfilling it is to like actually go out and save somebody from drowning. It's just an amazing feeling. I mean, I wouldn't trade this job for anything else.
It's 11:30 a.m. and a fisherman has just fallen off the end of the pier. The 3-story drop, 63-degree water, and rough sea spell trouble. Tony Morelli leaps into action.
My first instinct was like to see if he was okay. It was just a sprint out there, and just like the adrenaline's going, and he was on the pilings, just climbing up those barnacles. They're sharp. He was just in a bad situation.
Marine Safety Officer Tony Villalobos calls for a rescue boat as he races to the scene.
This is a fisherman who grabbed the pylon. Fish scraped up.
5240 responding. Obviously with the big surf, this person's probably going to be inexperienced, and we're worried about them obviously getting swept in the pier.
Lifeguard rookie Tony Morelli has reached the victim. He finds a bloody 35-year-old man clinging to the pier for his life.
A bunch of people were like yelling. I tried to get him away from the pier. I just tried to like take him as far in as I could before the outside breaks.
The boat's backed in. They're going to go ahead and pick them both up because it's going to be just too unsafe to bring them into this zone through here. So you can see them right now in the back of the boat. Boat's picked them up. Boat's now going to make a quick maneuver to get over this wave.
You see that? That was a big wave.
The lifeguard boat team must get in and out fast. If the teamwork between Morelli and the deckhand is not precise, the boat may get hit by the next set of waves.
Hurry up, let's go.
I paddled a little bit out to the boat. The deckhand on the boat just grabbed his arm and threw him on the boat and got out as fast as he could because there's a wave about to break right there.
We're going to go ahead and take him down to Tower 7 and deckhand will film him in if you can take 7 that area.
10-4 Wool, 10-4-9 the area, Tower 7.
The boat transports the victim to Tower 7, where he can be escorted to shore away from the crashing waves.
So our deckhand's going to jump off with the victim. You can see him getting the victim in. Boat operator's going to try to back in as much as he can. And the idea is that our shotgun guard and the deckhand sort of meet somewhere halfway. He needs to be very careful with the large surf here, so that was good timing. We tried to time it to bring him in the safest route possible.
With the victim safe on the beach, Villalobos can now assess the man's injuries.
I see a couple of abrasions here and there. We're going to go ahead and just clean you up really, really quickly. I'm going to put you on the back of my car so I can take a look at your knee. So make sure you clean your wounds and stuff when you get home, okay? Okay, right. Thank you, guys. We just had probably our biggest swell of the year.
The guards did a good job of keeping everybody inside, and that's what we've trained them to do.
On this edition of Lifeguard.
Code 3, we've got a person face down in the water.
I'm the first person on scene. I'm going to get in there and start performing CPR.
The quicker that we respond, the better off that person will be.
And a massive rip current puts multiple lives in danger.
They've drifted where he could no longer touch the bottom.
The water got real deep, didn't really know what's going on.
Plus, an out-of-control boat terrorizes beachgoers.
It looked like they were going to flip at one point. I was worried he was going to hit me, it was that close.
And later.
Can you dispatch a standard medical aid cliff response to Sunset Cliff?
The only way she was going to get out of there was to be hauled up. And we kept trying to help her be calm.
The Lifeguards of Southern California protect over 400 miles of coastline.
It's just really us versus nature.
And nothing impacts their day like the weather.
As lifeguards, the weather dictates the type of day that you're going to have.
Shark sighting, clear the water. I need medics to ski beach dock and other units.
On these beaches, lifeguards are the first responders.
1, 2, 3. When you get this many people coming to the beach, things are going to happen.
Hey, you all right, buddy? You there?
They are there to save you.
He told me to grab the buoy. He was literally right there.
They are there to lifeguard. This is Huntington State Beach. It's a 2-mile stretch of sand facing south, located between Huntington City Beach and Newport Beach. A storm off Baja, Mexico has resulted in today's south swell, and a recent string of rip-related rescues has lifeguards on high alert.
We have these dangerous rip currents, and there's some that are consistently found in the same areas. So down by Brookhurst Street, Towers 2, 3, 4, we always have kind of a recurring rip there, just the way the bottom of the ocean is formed.
Today's swell pushes the current west, forming inshore holes parallel to the beach. In addition, a low tide is pulling water back out into the ocean, creating rips in front of Tower 4.
There's going to be a lot of rescues that are basically going to come from the south. There's people who are going to enter the water around Tower 2 or 3, and they're going to drift with the current. So they're going to try and swim back in, but because the current's moving them so fast, they won't be able to swim back in at all, and they're actually going to go out.
As predicted, Veteran lifeguard Gray Lang spots 2 teenage swimmers in distress near Tower 3.
I noticed 2 victims, so I entered the water up current from them. The reason being is that they're moving with the current, so as they're coming this way, I'm trying to cut them off.
As Lang enters the water, nearby lifeguard supervisor Jeff David backs him up at Tower 4.
We always try and backfill our towers, so we always have ice on the water.
The current gains strength as lifeguard Lang swims out. From his vantage point on the tower, David can see that the rip current is pushing Lang off course.
He got pushed up coast as well, and he couldn't see them, and I was pointing directly to the victims that were down coast. And when he looked back at me, and then he saw where he needed to go.
When we're in the water, we can't get that view up and looking down and see everything. So the communication when we're in the water is huge. When I got to the victim, he had just come onto the hole where he could no longer touch the bottom.
Lang reaches the victim just as he submerges under a wave.
When I reached the victim, he took the buoy. I had to tell him to lash onto it really hard.
The victim is secure, but 20 yards to the south, the other is struggling.
The victims had separated a little bit, so I was on one and I looked to the other one and I noticed that my flanking tower guard had gone out as well. So I knew I could focus on the one victim that I had.
With the aid of the Tower 3 guard, both victims have been rescued.
They probably drifted maybe 150 yards within a matter of a couple minutes.
Me and my friend John, we were swimming out there, and after a while, we couldn't feel the bottom. Our stuff was way down there, and we ended up way over here in like 5 minutes. I haven't been to the ocean much, and I figured I could do it, but I couldn't.
I got a little nervous, kind of confused, both at the same time, like wondering how far we got out. I was really surprised to see a lifeguard. I didn't even know where he came from, popped up out of nowhere. I was trying to swim back, but he helped me out a lot.
They weren't very good swimmers. They weren't prepared to be out there. They were in a position they shouldn't have been in.
It worked out great. No one drowned. Everyone was rescued. No one was hurt.
We all work as a team, and we all know our roles, and we all, play them very well.
We try and educate people and keep them out of those areas, but you never know when they're going to occur.
This is San Diego's Mission Bay. The man-made aquatic park covers over 4,000 acres. It's a hotspot for sailboats, water skiers, windsurfers, and of course, personal watercraft. It's also home to the San Diego Lifeguards Boating Safety Unit, which handles all types of duties, from boat towing to issuing citations to handling medical calls.
Safety is our #1 concern out here. So you want to inform the people of the rules and regulations. You want to make sure that they're safe, that they go home the next day. It can be very stressful and very hectic at times.
Today, 80-degree weather and an unusually strong south wind have attracted novice boaters to the bay, resulting in several incidents.
Hit the red button, hit the red button. There you go. Right. All right. Line's clear. Have a seat, everybody.
While winds are distressing novice boaters in the bay, lifeguards uncover something much more urgent at nearby Ocean Beach.
We've got a person face down in the water. That means code 3, all hands on deck. We've got a serious one.
Lifeguard Sergeant Eric Kerr and Michael Fink race to the pier by truck, as lifeguards Adam Spahn and Ryan Graves respond by personal watercraft. Boating Safety Unit lifeguards Rick Stell and Jeff Jordan also hear the call.
We responded code 3, and we're fighting against time. I mean, the quicker that we respond and get there, the better off that person will be.
Lifeguards Kerr and Fink are first to reach the pier.
As soon as my crewman was about to jump in, the jet ski was approaching, so they really almost got there simultaneously.
Lifeguard Fink spots the man 45 feet below, still face down and motionless.
And as far as I'm concerned, I'm the first person there. I'm the first person on scene. I'm going to get in there and flip that body over and start performing CPR.
Within seconds, he reaches the victim.
We flipped the body over. The mouth was frothing, sputum, and the arms were in full rigor mortis, so we knew that there wasn't anything we could do.
Lifeguard Rick Stell arrives on a rescue boat just as Fink is bringing the body away from the pier.
When we got on scene, My crewman Jordan and I were able to determine that the person had been down for a long period of time, and it was more of a recovery than a water rescue.
Lieutenant Nick Lerma assumes incident command at Lifeguard headquarters.
Once we know that that patient is not viable, we can't resuscitate it, is to sort of drop back a little bit and then make way for the police to come in and perform their investigations.
Under police department supervision, lifeguards load the man's body and transport it back to the dock at the boating safety unit.
The lifeguard's role in working with the police department in this type of scenario is to get them information. If there's anything we know from our experience as lifeguards related to the ocean, the currents, anything like that, then we'll let them know.
Welcome to San Diego, California. Lifeguards protect the city's 17 miles of coastline 24 hours a day, making San Diego one of the safest beach towns in America. Lifeguards here average 5,000 rescues in a busy year. The job can be both physically and mentally demanding. And for many lifeguards, like 20-year veteran Rick Strobel, a day off is well-deserved.
It's just a beautiful day here in San Diego. It's ideal weather, about 80 degrees, about 68-degree water temperature. So I've taken advantage of it and taken my boat out with a couple of my good friends.
Joining Rick are fellow lifeguard Rod Messenger and their friend Abe.
Okay, all on the rail. This is the kind of stuff that you think about when you're dealing with the 13th rescue in 14 minutes. And trying to square away everybody's lost kids and all that stuff. It just goes away when you come on here.
Everything that takes place in the water relates to lifeguarding because we respond to all kinds of emergencies. We respond to sailboat emergencies. So knowing how to rig a boat, know how to bring down the sails during an emergency to affect the rescue, it's very important. It definitely ties into lifeguarding.
Bye-bye!
Our job, it's kind of built around a passion for the ocean. Rod, myself, we're good friends at work, and we're good friends off work as well.
Coming around Helmsley.
So you just watch your head.
When you're out here on your days off, it's kind of like work. We put ourselves in situations where you never know what's going to happen next.
Time stops for no one, and that includes lifeguards. The next day, Sergeant Rick Strobel finds himself back in the same spot, responding to an emergency instead of relaxing.
Mission Beach, can you start heading code 3 for a boat in the surf off San Fernando?
We had a 16-foot jet drive boat come out of Mission Bay and just quickly turn towards shore and start driving through swimmers.
Lifeguard Alex Green was in Tower 12 when he noticed the same out-of-control jet boat crashing through the surf.
I couldn't believe it. I was saying, oh my God, like this is really happening. I've only heard about this in scenarios.
Lifeguard Charlie Knight reacts to the call on a personal watercraft, while lifeguard Grant LeBeau departs code 3 from Mission Beach.
Along the way I saw them, it looked like they were gonna flip at one point. They were going down the face of the wave, and the only reason why they didn't flip was just because they were going so fast. I was out there waiting to catch a wave, and all of a sudden I saw the boat coming in. I was worried he was gonna hit me, it was that close.
South Mission Beach, the water is clear around the vessel. It's going to be a sea-doo. It's on the sand.
Sergeant Rick Strobel heads to Tower 12 to take over command.
I looked down the beach and I could see the boat just inside the surf, and before we knew it, the boat was on the beach.
Lifeguards arrive in force to find the jet boat beached. The swimmers are now safe, but the boat is stuck in the impact zone. Lifeguards rush to get the driver and passenger out as quickly as they can.
Once we got to them, we want to get them off the boat safely. You don't want them to jump off the stern of the boat and have a wave push the boat over them. So you want them to jump off the bow, jump off to the side, get them away from the boat.
We were trying to maneuver, try to get out of it, but the wave was high, and we didn't have a chance to even think what was happening, So we just pushed ashore to the beach.
Yeah, just trying to keep it bow out, and we'll arrange for a tow off the beach. You got a four-wheel drive what?
Yeah, it's a Hummer.
You got a Hummer?
Yeah.
All right, jump in my car and we're gonna go for a ride.
two inexperienced people, very nice people. They were looking for a dock. Obviously, they were in the ocean. They weren't going to find a dock out here.
I'm from Canada, so we don't have these waves in Canada.
They're very lucky that they didn't get hurt, and they're very lucky that they didn't hurt somebody else.
Huntington Beach is one of the best surf spots in all of Orange County. It's home to the Surfers Hall of Fame, and the waves here are as famous as the people who ride them. Past champions include Brett Simpson, Stephanie Gilmore, Rob Machado, and of course, Kelly Slater.
I spent a lot of time here, actually in Huntington Beach as a teenager. It's really open to any Southern Hemisphere swells, so we got really clean surf.
For 1 week each year, Huntington Beach plays host to the biggest surfing competition in America, the U.S. Open of Surfing.
The U.S. Open is the largest surfing contest actually in the world as far as number of spectators. It's a great event. It's been going on for a long time. Brings all the top pros from around the world to Huntington Beach and brings a lot of people down here to watch all the top pros.
For Lifeguards, extra visitors mean extra vigilance.
Everybody's on their toes. We have to be on our A game on weekends like this because there's a lot of distractions on today. You could get focused in on where the crowds are, but where the crowds are aren't necessarily where the danger is going to be. So you have to be aware of everything that's going on in your area.
With additional staff on duty to manage the crowds, Lifeguards work as a team to control and protect the contest zone. The lifeguards on Tower 3 keep swimmers from entering the contest area, while a guard on the pier watches the competitors.
How far out is the swimmer?
And if anything should happen, a lifeguard on a personal watercraft is stationed on the sand.
Surfers find themselves in trouble sometimes too. We've had cases in the past where they get wrapped up on a piling or something like that on a big south swell, and so we're the ones who are going to respond to that.
The Huntington Beach Pier has created a shift in the sand around it. The result? Several inshore holds that increase wave height and wave speed close to the dangerous pilings.
The thing about Huntington and the south side of the pier here, if there's any swell out in the water anywhere, this will probably be one of the better places as far as, being able to pick up the swell.
It is this consistent surf that brings the U.S. Open here every year. And it's the same reason why most of these lifeguards call Huntington Beach their home.
I would say about every lifeguard in the department enjoys surfing.
I like it when our guards surf, and I try to encourage them just because it means they're spending more time out in the environment that they're working in.
You do know the ocean. You respect it. You know how tides work. You have a sense for how swell direction and how just the conditions are going to be.
I think being a surfer definitely has an advantage when you're learning how to be a lifeguard. Just in the fact that it's easier to read the waves, it's easier to know what the weather's doing, because you're here every day and you see what's going on.
An avid surfer, lifeguard Dodger Kremel has been coming to the U.S. Open long before he joined the department.
The U.S. Open is always a special contest for me. I grew up surfing here. I'm born and raised in Huntington, and I competed a few years in the longboard event, and I ended up winning in 2006, which was the best day of my life. Got a couple good ones, and it was amazing. So this contest is definitely a huge part of my life, and I'm really always happy to come and watch it.
The U.S. Open takes place over 9 days each year. Thanks to the Huntington Beach Lifeguards' preparation and commitment, an average of 50,000 people are protected each day.
Guards did a great job of being very proactive. We had a lot of people down by the water, especially down by the pier. Tomorrow it's going to be different. Tomorrow a lot of people will be gone. We'll start to do the cleanup here. We can sort of get back to our normal operations, but it was a good, successful week for the U.S. Open.
My name's John Kerr. I've been on the beaches doing a lot of surfing for a long time before I was a lifeguard. Things with the ocean change by the hour. I need to know what the tide's doing. I need to know what the swell direction is. I need to know what the sun's doing. I can gauge pretty much how my day's gonna go before the sun comes up just by knowing what the weather's gonna be. We spend hours and hours looking at the ocean, and to say that we're obsessed with it wouldn't be too far off. The feeling that I get when I'm going for a rescue is initially it's recognition followed by terror. How long can he hold on? How long is it going to take me to get there? What am I going to need? Okay, now I'm moving, now I've got my stuff. Once you actually get there and you have contact, you have a conversation, even just a couple words, it's pretty surreal, especially when you've got the victim on board. Either it's the boat or maybe you're just towing them, maybe you're just swimming and towing them, and you realize, okay, we're gonna be all right. The thing with lifeguarding is the people. People from out of town, people from down the street, people from across town, people from across the world. It's the people that you rescue. It's the people that come up and shake your hand. It's the people who are in tears hugging their child because you did the right thing. Being a lifeguard is the best thing that ever happened to me. It put me on track to be a more successful and better person. The more you put into lifeguarding, the more you get out of it. And it's not just about rescues, it's about your coworkers, it's about your supervisors, it's about the public at large. I think the more that you're involved with it and the more you look at it, both from your own perspective and from the 10,000-foot big picture view, I think you'll be a lot more successful.
This is Sunset Cliffs, California. The 2-mile stretch of coastline is defined by its beautiful sandy beaches, tucked between steep rocky cliffs. To get on the beach, people must climb down treacherous trails of loose sandstone. The reward is a private beach experience. But what goes down must also come up, and that is where things can go wrong.
Dispatch, can you dispatch a standard medical aid cliff response to Sunset Cliffs, Ladera Street?
To San Diego lifeguards, a cliff response can be incredibly serious. Lifeguard Sergeant Travis Gleason departs Ocean Beach headquarters for the scene and radios for more detail.
The only information we have was a medical aid at Sunset Cliffs. Fires advise that it's on the beach, unknown if it's going to be what type of extrication.
Lifeguard Sergeant Rick Strobel and Alan Cracklow depart Mission Beach for the scene.
We're sending what we call a standard cliff response, which we try to get 7 people there. And so Alan and I are responding from Mission Beach to help with the Ocean Beach crew.
Lifeguard Travis Gleason is the first sergeant on scene.
The patient's at the bottom, down the beach. Medics are down assessing what level of extrication we need to do. At this time, we'll be setting up a system anticipating a haul, and I'll be establishing Ladera Command.
Sergeant Rick Strobel and other fire department personnel arrive at Sunset Cliffs and quickly gear up for a rescue.
I just need somebody to be edge pro.
I can do that.
The victim's medical condition requires a cliff rescue extraction. Incident Commander Gleason calls for action.
I just got word from medics down below that it's a female and we'll need to do a litter all the way to the top.
Mike Gilmore is the first lifeguard to reach the victim.
Generally speaking, we all know because we worked here a while, anybody sick down on the beach isn't going to be able to walk up on their own. So we just started preparing for a cliff call.
The 23-year-old woman reveals to Gilmore that she's afraid of heights. With dusk rapidly approaching, lifeguards must act quickly to get her off the beach.
You guys ready to haul? Yeah, we're ready. Down by.
The victim has no serious trauma, and her fear of heights is complicating the difficult extraction.
She was really uncomfortable. She doesn't like heights, so she kept wanting to take all the lines off.
I want to go. No, I want to go.
And we kept trying to help her be calm. She kept fighting, and I told her, the only way you're going to get out of here is to be carried out. So just bear with us, and we'll get you out of here.
Tension on the leg. Touch it slowly. Take a new bite. You're fine, Katie. You're fine. Okay, slow, stop.
Hey guys, thanks for the hauling efforts here.
Okay, guys, thank you so much.
The young woman is taken to the ambulance, where her vital signs are checked.
Do you have any medical history, anything like that?
We got her to the top, and now she's over with paramedics being evaluated, and it was a good rescue.